On July 8, 1853. For 220 years, Japan sealed itself from the world. So why did a fleet of black ships change everything in July 1753? In 1753, Japan had not seen a foreign ship in over 2 centuries. The Tokugawa shogunate ruled with rigid control over trade and foreign contact. Samurai patrolled coastal villages, watching for outsiders. The world beyond Japan's shores felt like a distant dream. For centuries, Japan had thrived in isolation. Its culture, religion, and politics were untouched by foreign influence. The shogunate feared foreign ideas would disrupt Japan's harmony. But the world was changing, quickly and violently. By the mid-19th century, Western powers had claimed much of the globe. British and American traders pressed for access to Japanese ports. Japan refused, again and again. The world was no longer content to wait. The Tokugawa shogunate relied on samurai to enforce its isolation, but modern weapons and foreign ships threatened their power. Japan's leaders faced a choice: stay closed or face the storm. The storm was coming. European maps now showed every corner of the globe. Colonial powers used these maps to claim new territories. Japan, once a mystery, was now a target. The world had no intention of letting Japan remain hidden. The Tokugawa shogunate viewed foreign contact as corruption. They banned Christianity, expelled traders, and built walls of isolation. But the world was not waiting for Japan to decide its future. The black ships would soon arrive. On July 8, 1753, Commodore Matthew Perry's fleet anchored off Uraga Bay. The ships, ironclad and imposing, were called black ships by Japanese observers. This was no peaceful visit. The United States demanded Japan open its ports to trade. Commodore Perry carried a letter from President Millard Fillmore. But he also carried cannons and a promise: leave or face force. Perry's message was clear: Japan must change or be conquered. The shogunate had no choice. After weeks of tense negotiations, Japan signed the Treaty of Kandaigawa. It opened 2 ports to American ships and allowed diplomats to stay. The shogunate had no alternative but to submit. The world had broken Japan's isolation. Japanese sailors and officials boarded Perry's ships, stunned by Western technology. American doctors treated diseases with medicines unknown to Japan. The gap between East and West was no longer a mystery. Japan had to catch up, or be left behind. The shogunate's authority crumbled under the weight of foreign pressure. Pro-reform leaders called for change, while conservatives resisted. But the world would not wait for Japan to decide its future. The black ships had changed everything. Perry's mission was not just political. It was cultural. He brought Western ideas, technology, and religion to Japan. The shogunate had no choice but to accept the new order. Japan's isolation was over, and the world had entered its doors. The Tokugawa shogunate collapsed in 1868, replaced by the Meiji emperor. Japan embraced Western reforms, building railroads, schools, and factories. The black ships had sparked a transformation. Japan was no longer a closed nation. Japanese people adopted Western clothing, language, and customs. But they also preserved their traditions, blending old and new. The black ships had not destroyed Japan. They had forced it to evolve. A new Japan was born. By the early 20th century, Japan had become a modern industrial power. It joined the ranks of the world's great nations, no longer a victim of foreign pressure. The black ships had opened the door to a future of opportunity. Japan had found its place in the world. The Meiji emperor led Japan's transformation, embracing change while preserving identity. He modernized the military, education, and economy. The black ships had not been a curse, they had been a catalyst. Japan had risen from isolation to global influence. The Treaty of Kandaigawa started a complex relationship between Japan and the West. It brought conflict and cooperation, resistance and adaptation. The Black Ships had changed the world and Japan's place in it. The legacy of Perry's visit endures to this day. Japan's journey from isolation to modernity was not easy, but it was necessary. The Black Ships had forced a change that would shape the world. Today, Japan stands as a testament to what happens when a nation is forced to open its doors. What happens when a nation is forced to change? Subscribe for more untold stories of global transformation.